So when I actually looked at four people squatting, all the four people have a different way of squatting. It's just not about going and reading a book and then you can implement fitness. No. For athlete, you definitely need some advanced works. For the general population, you can actually go ahead and do with this 3 to 4 months of your body weight training itself. That's sufficient. Your gym should actually start picking up in the first 6 months to 7 months of time. Okay. You should start looking at profits from the eighth month onwards. These days, it's completely opposite. You wanna, go pick up something. You just open Swiggy or any app, and then it's delivered to you in a couple of minutes. You don't even go, right? People are not physically active.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We are back after a long time. In this episode, we bring you Mr. Pavan Kumar, who runs a fitness center in Bangalore. In this podcast, we discussed with him regarding fitness, regarding injuries in sports and in general, and how to avoid them. We also discussed with him regarding healthy living and diet. He also explained to us about the unit economics of running a fitness center and how to make it profitable. We briefly discussed with him regarding training, sports person, and celebrities as well. I hope you like this episode and do let us know your thoughts in the comment section.
We would first like to understand your journey in brief. How you started, how you got into fitness and gymming, and then how you did something of your own and built your own gym.
Right. So this all started when I started playing volleyball. So I was an athlete.
Okay.
So I used to play for the school team and later moved on to playing for the South Zone. I was a captain, and that's how the basically the fitness journey. Not literally the fitness, but again a form of fitness by playing sport. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I couldn't continue my sport because of my injury. So this was a little background to it is basically we didn't know what is a warm up, we didn't know what is exercise, we didn't know what is strength, what is required for a person to play sports. So we just randomly played, but our coaches also kind of make sure that we were warming up properly and then doing it, but we didn't know the reason behind why we were doing that, right, at that given point of time. So what happened was I didn't warm up properly and I just went and played the game and I kind of tore my shoulder ligaments. It's called the slap tear. And so that's when this thing happened. So I couldn't start continue my sport. And my all my friends were they going regularly go to the gym and they used to work out and stuff. I said, okay, I have to do something in fitness and probably look at how this industry works and stuff to understand more about sports and then fitness, how it is related to the sports. So I kind of took up my certification in fitness. So it was ACE, so American Council on Exercise. This was one of the very leading certifications that's actually US based, but in India, if you are an ACE certified coach, you want to be considered the top notch coach back then. Okay, so 2012 is when I took up this certification and. I didn't have an intention to become a fitness coach. Okay, so it all happened because I studied about it, and it was more of the practical implementation of what you studied in your theory. And that's when I kind of went into my friend's gym in Indiranagar in Bangalore. So the owner was a very good friend of mine. In fact, he was my coach. Basically, I used to go and train with him, and eventually became a good friend. And I told him that I completed I mean, midway of my certification, he kind of gave an opportunity to tell, why don't you come and start training clients here in my place? So you'll get a practical experience, okay? Which is where a lot of people kind of see theory is completely different versus practicals. A simple example to that is there is a standard way of doing a squat.
Yeah.
Okay, they would say keep your legs parallel to your hips and make sure you drop down your hip back, go ass to the grass, and then come back. Right. But having said that, I didn't really think about every person is different. Right. So when I actually looked at four people squatting, all the four people have a different way of squatting. Right. That's when they started. It started kind of becoming challenging to me to understand it's just not about going and reading a book and then you can implement fitness. No, it doesn't work like that, right? So that's when I kind of seeked out help to reach out to my mentor, and I asked him, like, you know what, I know I've understood the theory part of it. Implementation on the floor is something that I need to know. He gave me a couple of contacts with therapists, and then I worked with my coach to ask a lot of questions. This is the extra step that I took to actually know a lot more, because now these days, yeah, you have a lot of guys doing fitness certifications online, and there are few people who just go ahead and they train themselves.
Hmm.
They shed out a couple of kilos of weight, and they do a photo shoot and they become a fitness coach. That's not the right approach to do it, actually, to be very honest. But yeah, it's easy to get there, but it's not the right way of doing, actually, is what I say. But yeah, and then getting back to the actual thing. So, and I actually got a first client of mine who was a doctor,
Hmm.
okay, who was a general physician, who was 108 kilos. And this was my first ever client, back in 2012, um, where it was about for him to, get into a healthy lifestyle, about losing weight and then, eating right and stuff. So, to be very honest, I'm going to tell you that particular client was my test track. I'm
Okay.
not supposed to say this, but he was my test track.
Hmm.
And I told him very clearly, look, I'm pretty new. I have not learned everything,
Hmm.
but it's kind of risky at the moment for me to, take up this particular, program of getting onto it. He like, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. If anything that's going wrong, means to say, we started kind of making notes of every damn thing that we were doing, in
Hmm.
terms of eating, in terms of exercise, in terms of your sleep patterns. So we actually, have everything ready. We have everything ready, what needs to be done to actually, do the weight loss. But again, if I say that, you have to eat a certain food, right? There are four different people. I give that food to four different people. Four different people react in a four different ways, right? So that way, if there's something that was newly that was introduced as a food or a supplement to the client,
Hmm.
then the client would report it to me, telling, you know what, I'm feeling this, I'm okay with it, or I'm feeling very uneasy. So this kind of feedback is very important for me, because it was more of a, a testing phase to understand, if I am taking this, what is happening?
Yeah.
If I'm not doing this, what's happening?
Hmm.
So we actually, spent like good 3.5 months. He lost a significant amount of weight. He actually came down from 108 kilos to 88 kilos.
Wow.
That was my first ever transformation, you can call.
Hmm.
Transformation actually started post 2013, 14, I guess. That's what I'm seeing in the
Hmm.
fitness industry. People started posting about transformation. Well, I even did that even before somebody else even started about it, right?
Yeah.
So that was something which kind of trigger, telling that, okay, his name is Dr. Manoj, and I'm really proud to say he actually kind of, stepped forward to work with me, because I was a beginner. I didn't have any clue about how this is going to work, but he was the one who was willing to take that risk and pick that
Hmm.
challenge up and do stuff. He was very, um, diligent, very, very, consistent in what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So that's how he was able to get that result. And by then I had a full-time job already, and
Hmm.
then I had not told my family that, I'm going to a gym to train clients and stuff like that. And after that happened, and I kind of, Facebook was active, so I posted that picture of the doctor, and then
Hmm.
a couple of folks started reaching out and stuff like that. And that's when I decided that why not I actually, get into this fitness and see what is really happening there. And so I had a couple of friends of mine who actually had connects with few celebrities. My first client was a Kannada actor.
Wow.
So and when the first client, Dr. Manoj, lost so much of weight, and then my confidence boosted, and I started investing a lot more time reading about fitness and
Hmm.
nutrition and so on and so forth. That gave me like a boost or a motivation, I would say.
Yeah.
The reason behind that was also, like, the support from the client who had given me. So it's like,
Hmm.
two-way support, right? Because it's one person doing all the thing and the other person is not reciprocate to it,
Yeah.
nothing is going to happen. So it went on that way, and I got a, very good boost, telling
Hmm.
that, if I'm able to transform a person's life, right,
Correct.
by getting into a very healthy lifestyle, why can't I actually take it as a profession?
Hmm.
So that's where it triggered it to me. And then later, at given point of time, I started looking even more deeper into, fitness. Um, the reason because of that is I was a volleyball player.
Hmm.
I injured my shoulder,
Yeah.
right? So I have met couple of doctors, and I, for my own, shoulder injuries, and then all that the doctors were recommended is like, you need to rest, you can't play. And then there was a friend of mine who actually, put me on to one of David Beckham's assistant doctor,
Hmm.
and whose name was Dr. Arun Kumar,
Wow.
and he was actually practicing in Manchester. He's come down. He's basically an Indian,
Hmm.
basically from Bangalore itself. And I met him, and he suggested that you can undergo a surgery, and then that can be fixed. It's gonna take like a 3 to 6 months process. And once your surgery is completed, we reconstruct your ligament, and you can actually get back into physio, and then strengthening and all these things and stuff. And kind of still lack that confidence, what they spoke, because I've already
Hmm.
spoken to 3 4 doctors earlier,
Yeah.
and a couple of my friends who I'd spoken to in the fitness, they're like, you can't do anything, you got to be careful, you'll end up injuring yourself more. So all these confusions put me into a state where I can't make any decision about doing anything.
Hmm.
Right? Okay, let me be this way. I'm not playing sport, it's okay. And I thought, okay, let me actually put a little bit more time in investing, to learning about fitness injuries,
Yeah.
people with injuries, how do I get back to sport? And that's when I decided I really want to become a coach who can train athletes
Hmm.
to not injure themselves. While I actually made that decision, I actually, like I said, one of my friends had connects with the celebrities. And my first celebrity client was a Kannada actor, Jagesh, who was like, um, 49, 50 years old. And he had two diagnoses. One is a L4, L5 slip disc
Hmm.
and a cervical spondylitis.
Yeah.
Okay. He was not able to get up by himself, stand straight by himself. He needed support. And if he had to turn, he couldn't turn the neck and the body separately. He had to turn the entire body.
Okay.
So that's how difficult it was. And I took him as a client, and I spent like good 1.5 year. Okay. I made him lose 22 kgs.
Hmm.
Plus, we fixed his, a diagnosis, what we actually call L4, L5, and the cervical spondylitis. He was able to squat with a barbell, having a 20 kg on his back, where he was not able to stand by himself.
Wow.
That's like a 1.5 year of progress. So it's like, very slowly, getting him to move. Again, he is always having this mindset that, what, if I do something, something else is gonna happen.
Hmm.
But that consistent, pushing him, asking him to do this and do that and do this and do that, he kind of, okay, got that confidence, and you're okay, I think this guy is really good with what he does. But again, I really don't want to take credit for that.
Hmm.
I want to give this credit to the physiotherapist and my mentor who kind of helped me out
Yeah.
to make me understand, the biomechanics, to understand how things work, how injuries work. And that's how I was able to train this client, and that boosted up, my presence in the fitness industry. So there were talks around, there were a lot of film actors and then, actresses that reached out asking for help. And yeah, I did train, 3 or 4 people more.
Yeah.
And one disappointing thing was, I don't want to take the name of one particular
Hmm.
celebrity. He being a client to me, he was not consistent, and then also having that the discipline was not there. For a 1 hour session, I used to spend like 3 hours, 4 hours to go there. And I decided that no, I really do want to train celebrities, because end of the day, it's for them, it's a project. They want
Yeah.
to do a movie, and then after that, they're like gone back to the regular old style. So, but that's why I decided that, like, I already made my mind up. I want to train athletes, and I got into, fitness 2015 full time.
Hmm.
I quit my corporate job. I
Wow.
was actually working as a business analyst. I was in market research.
Okay.
Yeah, and then 2015, this brand called F45 Training. This is an Australian function which opened up in ITPL, and I joined this place as a coach, a fitness coach. And this is a functional training studio wherein, I learned a lot about functional training a lot of people. But again, there my limitations was there, because the reason being is the program is done by the Australian teams,
Hmm.
and it's standardized everywhere. So you will have the same workout across the globe. You just have to stick to the SOPs and then go on so
Sir,
forth
is
with that.
F45 for
I
athletes?
spent like good,
Is it for athletes only or like normal people?
no, it is for everybody.
Okay.
It's functional training
Hmm.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, I spent like good 1 year with F45. I got promoted as a head trainer there, and
Hmm.
then I got into the management side of sales and stuff like that, which was not my interest. And then from there, there was a studio that opened up here in Indiranagar, so they moved me as the
Hmm.
studio manager here, again moving into sales. And I spent like good 3 years being there, and there was a football player who came in, and he wanted to train with me, and I was totally lost
Yeah.
because I don't know. I all I was doing was managing the gym, managing the sales, and then the program is there. I became lazy
Hmm.
because everything is spoon fed for you, right?
Yeah.
Then I decided no, this is not what I want to do because I deviated from my actual goal what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So that's why I decided that I quit F45 and I joined this place called Invictus Athletic Club as a performance manager.
Hmm.
So while I joined there, so again, personal training was something that was, given priority. So I work with a lot of clients. I like to work with a lot of data. So we collect a lot of data because that talks a lot, right?
Yeah.
If I look at my data, I can tell a client from day 1 to 100 days to 200 days what he's done,
Hmm.
right? Because if he's done something wrong, we can identify and pick it up and make corrections over there, right? That's how the data will help. Now, these days, a lot of people are doing this. I mean, the last 5, 6 years I'm seeing. But prior to that, I didn't see any fitness coach having any kind of data that they would maintain. And you have a lot of apps to do that now, but earlier there was not something like that. They used to do it. Yeah, so, and then that's when I decided to take up an additional certification. That's from ASCA, Australian Strength and Conditioning Association.
Hmm.
So I did my strength and conditioning level 1 at ASCA. So this was happening in Ballari. In the there's this sports academy there in Ballari, right? And I went there and I spent time with the coaches, doing my certification, educating myself, because a lot of the Olympic athletes who prepped
Yeah.
representing India were being trained by these coaches who had come down from different countries. That exposure was really good. That's when I came back and I kind of stepped up my game and started picking up athletes and started picking up all sports. I didn't fix onto one particular sport.
Hmm.
Like usually strength and conditioning coaches, they fix to one sport, but I did a multi-sport. I took clients for swimmers to basketball players to cricket players to tennis to
Yeah.
mountain climbing as well, right? So that's when the exposure of learning strength and conditioning was really really good, and then I was able to kind of make progress for them and then understood how these things really work, and I kind of got into this particular thing, and it's 2020 is when I decided to kind of have my own personal training studio.
Hmm.
And yeah, so 2020 happened, and that's when I opened my own studio back in 2020, and that's the journey of me getting into fitness and opening my own gym.
Yeah.
So, now, Pavan, when you open a fitness studio, what kind of investment is required, and is there a specific background which is necessary?
Since I was in the industry already and I had a lot of contacts in the fitness industry, um, I knew what I'm going to be doing,
Yeah.
right? And that's when I decided to open up a fitness studio to keep only to work only with personal training clients and athletes for their performance training. And that was the mindset what I had, that I wanted
Hmm.
to do a personal training studio, right? But things had its own way of taking shape. The reason being was when I looked at the studio there, I mean, it was in a place called Ramurthy Nagar, which is
Yeah.
about 6 kilometers from Indiranagar. I went to pick up the equipments. Okay. So when I went to see the equipments, the conversation that I had with that owner who was selling these equipments had a very good discussion with him, and he's like, I give you an opportunity. Why didn't you take up this place and run your gym here? I see a lot of potential in you. Why
Wow.
didn't you actually do your gym here itself and run it? I thought, okay, why not? If this person is giving, because I didn't have to pay any kind of money there, and somebody
Okay.
is willing to kind of take up that responsibility and then take up that initiative to give something to somebody else because they're going to make progress.
Hmm.
I kind of pounced on that opportunity and took it forward to actually set up the gym there with the same equipment. And just in 2 weeks after we signed the contract and everything was ready, COVID happened.
Hmm. Yeah.
And coming back to the setup, yeah, coming back to the setup, what kind of equipment you would need. So since I already had in mind that I need certain equipments for what I want to train people for, right? So I'm looking at a very simple setup, having like a proper barbell. You
Hmm.
need a Smith machine or a squat rack, a proper weights, a deadlift platform, dumbbells, a functional trainer. And this is like a very basic setup because for a coach, just for a coach who is really good and understanding about the anatomy, the human anatomy, you give him anything, he will do an exercise for you.
Wow.
He will, he'll come up with an exercise with anything. But there are limitations for a general population and athlete.
Yeah.
For athlete, you definitely need some advanced works. For a general population, you can actually go ahead and do with this 3 to 4 months of your body weight training itself. That's sufficient.
Wow.
Right. So since I had in mind that I'm going to be working with athletes and then this is what I required, right? So I went and picked up a second-hand equipment, okay, because I didn't want to invest on a new one. So if I'm going and picking up some equipment for like 30 lakhs, right? If I'm just able to get that in like 17 lakhs, I'm still looking at like, saving a lot of money, right? So that's when I decided to go for a used gym equipments. And then now again, also, if you are a beginner and then if you want to establish yourself as a brand and stuff like that, then you need to come up with setting up a very hi-fi gym with very branded equipments and then investing a lot in the interior and stuff, right? But my ideology was to, people come for me, right? People should come and train with me with the knowledge that I have, not with the equipment what I have. Because my ideology was like having a personal training studio. I'm working with minimal number of clients. That was the idea. But the COVID, which happened, and then most of my athletes or my clientele who were there, they moved out of Bangalore because of the work from home options out of, and then it's an unnecessary thing of paying rents in Bangalore were very high, and no hikes, and all these things happened. So most of my clients, they had to go back, relocate back, and that's when I kind of opened up to the general population when I got there. Yeah, now setting up a gym. So basically, you can set up a gym with at least about 30-35 lakhs.
Okay.
Okay, you can actually get used equipments. Sorry.
So yeah, including the space, right? This is with the space rent or
No. It's just the equipment I'm talking about.
okay.
It's just the equipment. Okay, yeah. Because again, additionally, if you see in Bangalore, you will have to kind of shell out at your advance money, and then you might want to get your interiors done and stuff like that, right? So that'll be probably keep it another 10 lakhs. Right? So yeah, and somebody who wants to set it up in a prime location and stuff like that, bare minimum, you would need about 70 lakhs to a crore.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Got it. Sir, and like, of course, your journey has been in training, and like you have now a gym that is open for the public. So, just one, I think, a slight sidetrack. But are you also planning? So, because your studio is slightly more trainer driven as compared to other gyms that we see. And like we wanted to understand right now, we wanted to understand ki, is this trainer driven, like slightly more personal model versus like open to everyone? Like how do you juggle between those? What do you think about that? What makes more business sense, or is there some kind of person who has to open a trainer driven gym, and like just different personalities open different kinds of gyms? Like any thoughts there?
Yeah, so again, like, so my ideology of having a gym was that I work with, clients who have a specific requirement, right? So, like I said, when I started as a fitness coach, I really wanted to be different because back in 2012, when I, did my ACE certification, there were only 2 people in the class. Exactly in 2 years, I see 25 people attending in the class. And the numbers are growing up. So when I actually think about it, 25 people, like, in a single batch, and these classes run for 3 months. Okay. So let's say in a year, there are like, you have 4 batches that is running, and you have like, 150 people kind of becoming fitness coaches. How am I going to stand against these guys? Or how am I going to be different?
Yeah.
So that's when I decided, like I said, to move into, strength and conditioning, training athletes, and then moving into another specialization of rehab training. And my ideology of setting a personal training studio was I don't want to compete with the bigger guys. Like, in terms of their resources, in terms of their setup, it's wholly for the coach that they have to come for this,
Got it.
right? But if I wanted to kind of just set up a very big gym, I just go ahead and take a franchisee, get an investor, and then I say, yeah, I run a gold gym. I
Hmm.
run a fitness first gym. I didn't have that mindset, right?
Yeah.
And also it's about having a limited number of clients that you can train, and then with their specific requirements, and you're gonna stand out. Let's say, like, if you see, I don't know in Bangalore if there are any coaches who actually work with the special kids for special needs. Like,
Yeah.
I work with a doctor who actually is part of a NGO who have kids who are having ADHD and these kind of
Yeah.
conditions, right? So again, now the ideology of me doing functional training for these kind of kids, right? That actually is something different. I don't think you would have heard of anybody doing this,
Correct. Yeah.
right? So now, if I'm doing that, and then obviously you are actually making a separate market for yourself. You
Hmm.
have those kind of clientele coming in. So
Correct.
basically, simple. It's the blue ocean strategy.
Yeah.
If you read that book, Blue Ocean, right? You're gonna have a separate. You don't have anybody competing against you.
Hmm.
So that was the market which I was looking for, and then to cater to a certain market. And since it was actually two things that I had in my mind. One was having a separate niche of clients with me. One. Second thing is um, because of the COVID reasons, I was not able to meet my financial goals,
Hmm.
right? And because I was waiting for a specific, and that's why I opened up to the general population as well. Let's say I would do like 40% of the general population, and the remaining 60% would be the
Yeah.
market that I'm trying to cater to. Because you also have to meet your financial goals. It's just not like setting up a business and you want to kind of run it in losses,
Correct.
right? So that's when I kind of ventured into both. But the eventually the goal is to kind of get into a market where I only work with specific set of clients. Because now, you
Hmm.
say a simple example, you have a particular condition that is relevant to a particular like a doctor who's a orthopedic, right? You would go meet a orthopedic. You wouldn't go meet a general physician, right, who's giving you
Yeah.
general advice. You would directly go to that particular specialty.
Yeah.
So that's where I want to stand into.
Understood.
Right. Also, Pavan, now this is a physical business, as I understand, right? So, how do you market this business? And based on different strategies, uh, how much acquisition is happening in on via which marketing tool?
Okay, so since the time that I have been in fitness, I would say 65% of my clients have been via referrals.
Wow. Hmm.
Because if you're training a client and then they're happy about what you do, right? Fitness training especially, because you know what, fitness training these days, it's you have a lot of information that's available on Google, and then people are well aware of things. They're going and reading a lot of stuff. Earlier it was not like that. People were like, okay, you had a coach, you had to come and train,
Hmm.
and then they would just go ahead, sign up with some client, or they would sign up with some trainer. Again, the price factor was completely different back then. uh, my clientels were only referral based.
Yeah.
So when I used to work with Invictus Athletic Club, I had like 17 clients that I had to train, right? So basically, personal training works this way. So you would do 12 sessions a month, okay? So that way, in your 8-hour shift, you have a potential of picking up 8 clients.
Hmm.
So every hour a client. So I had like already 16 clients. I had like clients waitlisting for me just to make sure if there is any slot that I can pick up,
Hmm.
right? Because that's because of the effort that you put into the client and make them understand and start giving them results. They bring you clients. So your work should actually bring you more referrals. This is what happened. But after this, the COVID situation, when I started working with general population, I had to kind of get into marketing myself. It could be your Instagram, it could be your social media stuff, your Google ads, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but I would say the remaining actually came in, via walk-ins, and then your social media marketing.
Yeah, and sir, one interesting thing is like since the gym is more trainer driven, the trainers bring more customers for the
Hmm?
gym also. Uh, like because if I am under a trainer and I go and talk to someone and say, "Ki, okay, this gym with this trainer is really good," so word of mouth really helps.
Yeah.
And one more question was like, first of all, do you plan to? Okay, I think we'll step back and understand when do you think a gym starts becoming economically profitable, and then do you plan to then expand this gym across different places, and when does those decisions start coming into play?
See, ideally, your gym should actually start picking up in the first 6 months to 7 months
Hmm.
of time.
Okay.
Okay, you should start looking at profits from the eighth month onwards. Okay, but provided you have a very good strategy in how you want to actually, run this gym operations. Now, looking at the gym operations, what I would like to understand is what is that you're trying to do? What kind of clientele are you trying to get in your gym, right? Is it a gym that's open for everybody who just can train and then they can go? That's
Hmm.
a very regular gym,
Yeah.
right? Simple example that you can take is a cult, or simple example you can take is a gold chip, right?
Hmm.
Now again, so people just go take membership, they just want to go work out and then they come back, right? In those kind of models, what happens is you're just kind of pushing only memberships.
Yeah.
Now, if you say like for a month, a membership is like in cult is about 800 rupees.
Hmm.
Okay, but a regular gym they would charge you somewhere 2,500, 3,500 rupees, right? So that way, if you have to bring in 10 customers who are paying you 3,000 rupees, that's like 30,000 rupees for a
Hmm.
month.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, how does the gym make money? Gym makes money via personal training. This is where your trainers is going to start pushing, and also the other story to it is the fitness coaches are paid very less. The standard of fitness coaches' salaries are very less. They average between 12 to 15,000. Okay, at let's say an intermediate level of coach.
Okay.
Whatever that they earn is via personal training. It's like a 50-50 ratio or a 60-40 ratio. The gym takes 60 and then the 40 ratio is given to the coach. So this is where you see a lot of these coaches, what they do is, they start working with these clients directly.
Hmm.
They kind of talk to them and tell them, I'll come and train at your place. Whatever, let's say you're paying 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees for a month,
Yeah.
and then he's just getting 4,000 rupees out of the gym. He's going to talk to the client and he'll tell them, you pay me just 6,000 rupees. I'll come and train you, but he's still making a 2,000 rupees profit, isn't it?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So that's the thing where gym actually kind of loses out. So
Okay.
what we try and do is so if you take the coach that I've hired, Naveen especially, who's
Hmm.
working in the morning, this guy, he's been with me in the last 5 years. He actually is not from the fitness industry. He was working in a small time garment factory and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
then, but I got him to do a very basic certification, and the kind of time that I spent teaching him stuff, educating him, and then you are very less, coaches who are loyal to you, who will stick to you, based on whatever that they've learned from you and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? So coaches like that are very rare, and they are the ones who can bring in more revenue to you.
Hmm.
So coming back to the membership point of view, if you're just adding more members, your basically in return on investment is very less. You're not going to earn much out of it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's why you push personal training. So in my idea, we will do at least 40 or 50% of it. We have to push personal training.
Okay.
So that way, you are able to see some amount of money that's coming into your pocket. For me, let's say my gym, I have an operational cost of 1 lakh rupee.
Hmm.
Okay. And every month I have 25, 30 clients, 30 clients who are actually paying monthly memberships. Right. So 30 is 90,000 bucks that I got my monthly membership.
Hmm.
And I've got 5 clients who are actually, paying me 10,000 each, so 50,000. So like 1,40,000 rupees is what I've earned in a month.
Hmm.
So that's where in the 1,40,000 also you still have to pay your trainer the commission of the personal training that he's done. Right. So that's how you need to plan your gym. And then, like I said, if you target a specific niche of market, if you specialize in certain domains, like sports injuries, or it could be your rehab training, or it could be a transformation expert and stuff like that, then
Yeah.
you can actually charge a little bit more higher, and that's how you'll be able to make money.
Got it.
Right. Yeah, but for my situation, since it was COVID, I think the first 2 years I didn't see a single rupee come in because it
Hmm.
was the complete lockdown.
Yeah.
And I was paying my trainers their salaries every month, operational there. I had to do all of this just to make sure I don't want to shut down my gym.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
those 2 years were like anybody who survived those 2 years will survive anything. Uh, if as a like a physical business owner, restaurants,
Right.
gyms, everything included. Sir, like I think
Correct.
one more question, and we will go into a
Yeah.
small rapid fire after this. Uh,
I do have one question after that, Hamid.
Okay.
you go first.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, sir, uh, I personally wanted to know, like a person who is watching this episode, maybe he'll be like 20 to 35 aged. What should our ideal
Mm-hmm.
nutrition or an ideal exercise look like? Like, how often should we exercise? What should we do? Or how we can like get into the best shape of ourselves?
Yeah, and my question was the same. So just will add to it, sir. Across the board, any research that we see, exercise is the biggest uh, change that an individual can make to increase their mortality, health, etc. So a small, since you have so much experience,
Right.
a small look at like what should they do in terms of diet and what should they do in terms of exercise. Anybody who is watching this, what would be your general recommendation there?
Okay. My very generic recommendation is, basically, um, you would have to be physically active first and the foremost thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Try and move as much as possible. Right. Now, there are very simple exercises that you can do at home also.
Hmm.
Okay. Not necessarily that you have to go to a gym and train itself. Okay. Basically, let's say you are a person who is typically doing a desk job and sitting for long hours, right? There, what happens is your core, your shoulder muscles, your hip flexor muscles, your hamstring muscles, glute, they all become kind of inactive.
Hmm.
You pick up exercises that are going to be making these muscles active.
Okay.
And if you train like, 4 days in a week or
Hmm.
3 to 4 days in a week for at least 35 minutes to 40 minutes, that's kind of decent enough for you to actually be physically active. Now let's say you have physique goals and stuff like that. There it becomes you need to push yourself a little bit more in terms of physique goals and stuff like that. Again, it comes down to what you need to be doing right.
Hmm.
Now if you have a goal that you want to lose 10 kgs, and then you have all the wrong doings, wrong habits in your lifestyle. It means
Hmm.
to say you're sleeping very late, or you sleep only like 4 hours or 5 hours, and
Yeah.
you get to eat all possible processed foods. In this kind of instance, for you to achieve a physique goals, it becomes difficult, right? So fundamentally, fix your basics. When I
Hmm.
say fix your basics, move well, eat right, sleep well, rest and recover. If you do these things, the byproduct of these things are going to be your physique goals.
Yeah.
But what people actually try to do is they bring in some lot of fancy stuff, like changing the diets completely,
Hmm.
bringing in new food, bringing in supplements, and first of all, you know what, you are not even having your, see, consider body as an engine. Your engine itself is not right.
Hmm.
You are not serviced your body very well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you are trying to get the best of the oil and then put it into it and asking it to perform well. It's not going to work like that,
Okay.
right? So you need to fix the basics. So your basics are your sleep,
Got it.
eating well, okay, and moving.
Hmm.
These are the basic stuff that you like. Even simplest thing is your exposure to sun. Nobody's having exposure. People want to sit in AC.
Yeah.
Skin ailments are kind of cured via being in sun, spending time. Remember, as kids, we used to play in the sun. But definitely, like, we used to play in the sun, like, go there Saturday, Sunday, literally go tan and then come back. But we see a lot of benefit out of it. These days, it's completely opposite. You wanna, go pick up something, you just, open Swiggy or
Yeah.
any app, and then it's delivered to you in a couple of minutes. You don't even go, right? People are not physically active.
Yeah.
So that way, it's about making sure you move enough. And diet wise, see, what is a diet, to be very honest? Diets were made for patients. Diet itself is for patients.
Hmm.
We are regular, regular population. Why we need to diet? We eat what we require, no, eat what we want. But you need to know what is the right portion to eat? That's something that you need to do. You have a lot of apps that will talk about, your eating habits. So simple example, you take this MyFitnessPal for
Hmm.
1 week. Right? So enter all the foods that you're eating. If you
Okay.
enter all the foods that you're eating, and if you go back, there are like graphical representations of what you're eating. So broken down into macro and micronutrients.
Wow.
Macros are going to be your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats.
Yeah.
Micros are your minerals and essential vitamins and stuff like that. If you look at it, see what is that you're eating, right? Now, 1 week, eat the food that you're eating right now.
Hmm.
Okay. Next week, make a small change in your eating habits. Make include all the vegetables, include all the fruits, include your protein sources, good amount of carbohydrate. Then you see the difference, right? How you feel, and
Yeah.
how to identify, there are certain foods that it's not tolerated. When you eat a certain food, you feel very lethargic, you feel very uneasy. Those kind of foods, it's a body telling you that you're not supposed to eat that,
Hmm.
or eat it in moderation, or eat something lesser, right? You see common people, if you see people just go eat like junk food and then come back and they feel very uneasy, they burp. So they are all the indications, right? Now again, it comes down to other thing is gut health.
Yeah.
Now if you see a lot of people making videos about gut health stuff like that, because that's the most important thing now, because it's your gut that's absorbing. You give the best of the foods, give the best of the foods to your body,
Hmm.
and then if your gut health is not right, it doesn't help. It's not absorbing the right amount of nutrients that's required.
Yeah.
So that's the very basic stuff. So my recommendation, like, this is much, just move well,
Yeah.
and then you need to track your eating. What is that you're doing? How you eat? That's it.
Right.
Yeah, actually, that is really helpful, sir. That is very actionable advice, especially the diet wala part, uh, like tracking, and then I
Yeah.
have never done it. I'll have to do it. It will definitely show too much sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a small rapid fire round, and this is something we do
Sure.
in every podcast. Just one, like one line answer, just to understand, just a little fun thing. I'll start, Ashwini, and we can alternate. So first question
Yeah.
is like, what's the best part about your job?
I love what I'm doing. I enjoy it.
Wow.
Nice. One thing which you'd like to change about your job.
One thing that I'd like to change about my job,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nothing that I have to change.
Wow, that is really good to hear. Then, so this has been a pattern across podcasts, and this is a question that is becoming increasingly important. Can artificial intelligence start replacing, uh, like this gym? I don't think it replaces a gym owner, but do you think it replaces trainers, etc., over time, or is it not possible? What do you
Definitely not possible.
think? Okay.
Definitely not possible. Okay, because humans are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is that one missed opportunity which you believe you wish you could have taken a second chance at?
Um, Missed opportunity. Okay, so this was me getting a university seat in Scotland for my master's in sports and exercise science, basically a psychology in sports and exercise science. So I missed that opportunity actually.
Oh wow.
Studies further.
Got it. And so, like, if you are not doing gym, if you're not doing training, what is another alternate career you could have gone for?
I mean, I had a typical corporate job. I
Okay.
didn't think that I would be getting into fitness. It all happened because of that sport.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't think of anything else.
Okay, sir. Yeah, that's really good to
A
hear.
regular IT professional.
Yeah, understood. So thank you so much. I think this was extremely helpful, both from understanding how I think this helps a lot of people. One is people who are trainers, etc. Your journey helps them understand ki how do you progress. Then people who are opening gyms, and also people who want to become more fit and like start their own fitness journey. So I think we should always do another. We might have more material to do one more podcast sometime later to understand more about this deeper fitness, nutrition, training journey, because you have so much knowledge there. Thank you so much, sir. It was really, really.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you.
No problem. Thanks, Amit. Thanks, Ashwan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the podcast till the end.
If you have any questions or doubts for the guest, please let us know in the comments.
एंड इफ यू थिंक कि कोई क्वेश्चन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है डू लेट अस नो ताकि वी कैन फोकस मोर ऑन द एस्पेक्ट नेक्स्ट टाइम
और आप लोग थैंक यू मत कहिए, इंस्टेड 3 लोगों से शेयर करिए और उन तीनों से कहना कि और 3 लोगों से शेयर करें, दुनिया बदल जाएगी।